Hi, I'm Susie Woodford, and I've been able to make almost $500,000, completely pay off the mortgage, and retire my husband at the age of 30, all while staying home with these sweet little babies. It's been amazing.
Hi, my name is Tadra Payne, and I've been able to help adventurous entrepreneurs see all the places on their bucket list.
I've been able to build this very loyal audience of students from all over the world, and it's really special to be a part of that.
I teach teachers how to overcome teacher burnout. I've been able to make over $5,000 from my courses.
I've been able to help over 1,000 people become hand-lettered font makers.
Hi, I'm Paul Lipsky. I teach people about dropshipping, and I've been able to help over 1,000 students start their very first online business.
I teach parents of kids with ADHD and autism how to help their kids thrive.
Hey, my name is Rich. I teach biology, and teaching online allows me to live in one country. All of my students are in the UK. I live in Canada, which lets me go snowboarding, have the flexibility to live the life I want, and teach, I think last year, 55,000 hours worth of content.
Hi, I'm Daniel Wallace. I teach people to write better novels and better stories. I've been able to earn over $20,000, which is amazing.
I'm Julie Lewin. I'm a medical intuitive. I teach myself healing techniques, and I've been able to earn over $45,000 from selling my online courses.
Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to day 3, session 3. I can't believe this is our this is our last workshop really. We have our final event at 9 p.m. Eastern. But let me know if you can see me, you can hear me. I really wanted to share that video with you because that is what happened last year with our creators. And the reason why I love it is that everyone is teaching so many different things, right? There's so many different topics that people have found a niche in. We spoke about this on day 1, but we've seen Deborah Neiman. She's over 2,000 students, and her course is copper deficiency in goats. And so I just wanted you guys to see that, to know that whatever it is that you are thinking about, whatever it is that you think is almost too crazy or like no one's going to be interested in this, you might be pleasantly surprised. So look into the chat, everyone. You can see me, you can hear me. Now let me know. Let me know if this is your first session, your second session. I know we've got Marsha from Jamaica here, who's been here almost every single time. So virtual high five, but let me know. And I also want to say, you guys are in for a treat today, because up until this point, we have covered so many different things, right? We've talked about your mindset, video. We've talked about creating your content, branding. Now it's time to talk about your launch plan. How are you going to make sales? How are you going to enroll students so you can help them? And there's no one better to help us with this than the incredible Regina Anajano. Regina, thank you so much for being here. Welcome. What can we look forward to in today's workshop?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. I have been doing these sessions with Teachable for a few years now. Every time y'all do a summit or a conference online, I love it. Today, specifically, we're getting into how to craft a launch plan. More specifically, how for some of you who don't have a huge audience built up, you either have no audience or you have a beginning audience. How do you get yourself in front of new people who've never heard of you before? How do you motivate them to check out your offer? And then how do you actually offer and pitch your course? So that's what we're talking about today. And we're gonna talk about whether you have a low price course or all the way up to a more premium price. You're gonna get tips that are specific to you. So I'm so excited. Please be ready to take notes.
Amazing. I can't wait for this. Okay, I'm going to switch your screen over here. Perfect. We're good to go. And let me know, everyone, if you have your pen and paper ready or you're just going to take crazy screenshots. But I think pen and paper are great.
It is preferable, pen and paper. So hopefully y'all see those wonderful slides there. You should see a picture of myself and one of my business partners, Allie. Okay, perfect. I think y'all are seeing that. Okay, so basically in order to create your launch plan, we're gonna work backwards. We're gonna work backwards to figure out how to sell your course. And I'm so excited. It's so ridiculous. Okay, you're gonna leave this session with a few things. I'm so glad y'all are ready for this. Number one, a clear idea of how to best pitch your course. Raise your hand in the chat if you have heard that webinars are the only way, Facebook ads are the only way, XYZ is the only way. What's interesting is all of those ways work. You have to find what works for you and what works for your audience and what sends the right message, right? I'm actually going to share 18 different ways that you can pitch that are not your traditional webinar. And I'm really excited about these. And you're going to see, I'm sharing some real behind the scenes details. Hi, Eve. I see so many awesome people in chat. I'm going to share some really awesome details about like my actual numbers from using some of these methods. So you're going to see some behind the scenes. And I'm talking profit, not just, revenue or something like that without subtracting expenses, because I get and I bet that y'all are more interested in what you actually get to take home. How much money is in your pocket? How much money do you get to operate and live life and travel and help your family with, right? Not just the revenue. We got to talk in terms of profit. Okay, so I'm going to share 18 ways. Then we're going to get into a key understanding of what type of content actually motivates your specific audience. So you're going to have to answer some questions, but motivates your specific audience to act, because not everyone is motivated by the same factors, right? So we got to talk about that. Next, we're going to talk about several new ideas. I want you to pick just one or two so that you stay focused over the next 90 days, but several new ideas of how you can get in front of new people who have never heard about you before, people who have not heard your name, my name, anyone's name, and how do you get in front of them? How do you get them following you, following along with your content or subscribe to you? And then you're actually in the midst of this going to see a little bitty behind the scenes look at how a brand I started 14 days ago, 14 days ago, is growing online. So actually, Teachable got in contact with me a while back and said, okay, hey, look, this is the session we're thinking about doing. And I said to myself, okay, how do I make this really useful for people? I know what I'll do. I'll take this idea that I've had brewing for a little while. I'll actually get it started online and I'll see what kind of progress I can have in a couple weeks. I got started a little bit late. I meant to have a month of data for you. It's just going to be 2 weeks, but y'all are going to actually see how much I've been able to grow a brand new brand from scratch. I'm sharing all of that with you. You'll see actual screenshots. Exciting. I know, I'm really excited. Okay, so just a quick introduction. To me, hi, I'm Regina. I just want to be clear for those of you, I love B2B and B2C, right? Business to business or business to consumer. So that means, whether you're a business that's selling items, whether they're digital, physical, whatever, services straight to a business, or you're someone who's selling straight to consumers, I get what you're doing. I'm a registered yoga teacher. I own a profitable health and wellness website that just teaches people how to detox their home and their bodies. I have 4 fitness certifications, probably a little overkill. I've taught a course on design and photography that made over $100,000 in profit. We're going to use that word a lot in about a month. And so I'm like you, I have a lot of interests. Oh, Felicia, thank you so much. You guys are so awesome in the chat. Keep it going. Any questions you have, throw them in there. So I've helped clients from poker players to dog trainers, consultants, copywriters, feminist scrapbookers, language teachers, people who want to sell more of their niche courses come to me because I don't prescribe the same thing to everyone. And I think it's really, really, really important. And I have the experience of selling different types of products. So that's why I know the same stuff doesn't work for every single person. Okay. And sorry, I can't go back for some reason on my slides. Oh, yes, I can. Anyway, that's a picture of myself. And actually, you may know my friend Varick, who I work with. He's another business coach that I work with frequently online. So just thought I might as well explain. These are not stock photos. Those are real people. But anyway, so guys, I accidentally stumbled, if you will, into my first $1 million in revenue from teaching things I love. So I studied business in college. I started some in-person businesses back when I lived in Texas. So I had an in-person cleaning business and some different stuff. It's not even important to go into. Over time, it's been over a dozen different businesses. But later I started helping people with their own businesses because they had so many questions. And then I was like, you know what? I need to scale this up. I can only take so many coffee meetings in a week to help people with their businesses while I'm still trying to run my own business. So I decided to start teaching in-person classes. So I taught at the University of Texas at Austin with their continuing ed program, in-person classes. And then I was like, oh no, well, I don't want to just leave my students hanging after 3 weeks. I'm going to put some follow-up materials online for them that they can access, because I'm not going to see them anymore after these 3 weeks that we're together. So then I started putting my materials online, but I wasn't password protecting them or anything like that. And what eventually happened is that I had a website that was getting a lot of search engine traffic because I had so much content, videos, text-based lessons, and my SEO, my search engine optimization, had increased. And now my website, these private lessons that I meant only for my past students, were showing up in search results. And so I basically was almost forced into, oh, well, now my stuff's online, I guess I might as well sell it. Hopefully that makes sense. So you might be wondering, okay, you said $1 million in revenue, but Nancy says, oh my gosh, it's like you're describing me right now. I love it, Nancy. I love that we have so much in common. Everyone in the chat, I'm sure y'all are here for a specific reason. You like to help people, whether you do it through a physical product or a digital product or a service. You're wondering, how can you expand that by maybe creating an online course, right? So anyway, total ad spend during this whole time has been $12,648. So about 1.26% of revenue. And I didn't even use ads for the first $500,000 in revenue, okay? Total paid out to affiliates during this time for this $1 million in revenue, $0. So 0% of revenue was paid out to affiliates. I am not saying these things to come down on ads or come down on using affiliates. Those are absolutely great strategies. I just want to highlight that there are different ways. So I believe in high profit margins, especially when you're first starting out, right? You're typically doing everything yourself. As anyone else in the chat doing everything themselves. When I first started, I was designing all the, content. I was writing all the content. I was the one, sending out the emails. I was the one putting the website together, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What movie is that from? You can tell me in the chat. Oh, nice. There's so many Texas people in the chat. So, the difference is, like, a lot of people are out here paying $880,000 or more between their team and their ads and their affiliates to make their $1 million in revenue. So our businesses are, I see people guessing it. I love y'all. So our businesses are very different. So that's why I'm over there sipping my tea, because profit, it matters, right? Whether you spent $880,000 to get $1 million or you spent $15,000 to get $1 million, that's a big difference, right? Okay. Why am I saying all of this? There's more than one way to pursue a smart business model. I do love ads. I want to be clear. And I'll start to use them more now that I know more about them. I love affiliates. I love encouraging people to spread your stuff and paying them for their help. But I didn't start a business to just brag about revenue. So high revenue without high profit doesn't appeal to me. And I bet a lot of you feel the same. So I started a business. My personal reasons are I want to be able to lend money to family and friends for their ventures or for their needs. I wanted to buy a car that doesn't break down. I did that a few years ago. I wanted to live in whatever city or country I wanted to, so I could explore other cultures and learn other languages firsthand. I wanted to stop answering to a very sexist and annoying boss that I had several years ago. I had this just experience years ago when I was in a job where a family member of mine really needed some money, and I just didn't have it. I didn't have it, and I had a paycheck that was going to come, twice a month, and I knew I couldn't create any more money. You know what I mean? Like, your paycheck is your paycheck is your paycheck. I couldn't magically make more money appear while working at a job. And I told myself I never want that to happen again, where a family member or friend needs something, is in need, and I have to say no simply because I don't have it and I don't have any way to create it. It killed me. It killed me. And I was like, this is not happening again. I've always been interested in business. I studied business in school. I do not want this to happen again. So why did you start? I'm asking you, literally, y'all here live today. I'm going to say y'all a lot. I'm from Texas. Why did you start? I just told you some of my reasons, very embarrassing reasons when that family member asked for money. Actually, my bank accounts were negative. I'm not going to lie to you, right? Like I didn't have a good handle on money management, and I wasn't making a lot of money, and I had no way to create extra income. And it was a painful moment to not be able to help my family member. So why did you start? What is your reason? Okay, I want to know, so you can please type it in the chat. Someone says, I want to do more for my family. I love that. Yeah, exactly. Give my husband the freedom to retire. Oh my gosh, you guys are like, for real, I'm a very emotional person. So if I cry, it's cool. We're still going to learn stuff. We're still going to learn, I promise. Okay, so I want to ask another question too. Yeah, the rat race, killing me mentally and physically. Exactly. So how many webinars have you attended and left thinking, the person who just did this webinar does not get my life at all, or my goals at all? I ask that because you might not, like, so for example, if somebody's saying webinars are the only way, they might not understand that you can't do webinars for childcare reasons. I had a customer who literally was not able to do live webinars because she had a child that had special concerns, special needs, and was not able to have, her mom going live. It really made, upset her, and therefore her mom could not go live and do webinars, right? So not every customer, not every person selling a course, course creator is in the same place, right? So you may not be able, as a coach, to offer maybe one-on-one calls all the time for health reasons. You may actually need, not just want, so that you can do a money dance and, make money rain on Instagram stories. You may actually need to find a form of passive income to support you. You might be in a situation where you don't have $5,000 sitting around in your bank account that you can test out on ads. If everyone's saying like ads, yeah, just put some money in ads, like do about 5K the first month and you should be good from there. Okay, that doesn't apply to everyone. So, and you may just be here going, hey, listen, I just want to create a little bit of side income from a course. So I just want you to know that I absolutely hear you. I absolutely am you. I have absolutely, you're my family, you're my friends. I know a lot of people in this position, and I absolutely will help you with your goals today. Okay. All right, so I approach selling from two places: a full stack sales funnel, and don't worry, I'll come back to this slide, and a short stack launch funnel. What we're going to work on today is a short stack launch funnel, but I want to explain just really briefly this larger, and this is like a spreadsheet that I use with clients. It's just a paste of a spreadsheet, but I want to explain the larger picture is that eventually maybe you're going to be selling your course in a very evergreen format, or after a little while, after you've got your first few course sales, you're going to want to basically create a more advanced funnel for selling your course and maybe selling other offers. For that, we have something called a full stack sales funnel, and it basically has 5 phases. The first phase is where you invite a new person who's never heard of you into your web of awesome somehow. You can also obviously invite people who are already a part of your community to come check out new content. But for a lot of you, again, you're not starting with a huge audience. None of us are, right? So you're having to learn how to invite completely new people. Again, we're going to get into some cool stuff today, so don't feel like you need to take notes off of this slide. I just want to give you a picture of what the full stack sales funnel is. After you've invited somebody, you're inviting them to something. It's either a free sample or a paid sample, or it goes from a free sample to a paid sample. So I might be manually engaging with someone on Instagram, commenting on their stuff, getting into a great conversation, and they either come back to my bio and click the link in my profile, or I invite them to sign up for my free sample, which might be a free email course, a free workbook, a free pre-recorded training. As soon as they sign up for the free pre-recorded training, I might have a thank you page that invites them to a paid sample. Hey, you just got the 30-minute training on blank. If you want to actually get a discount on the workbook that goes along with it and the expanded lesson, it's on sale right now for only $25. So a lot of people call this like what's the word? I forget, a tripwire. Oh my gosh, I forgot all the marketing speak. My bad. I just am referring to this as a paid sample. It's a sample of what you can offer, a sample of what you can help people for, and they paid for it. So tripwire, whatever terminology is good for you, you guys get the point, okay? Then we move into building. This is building relationship. You might do this through an email sequence. This might be a one-on-one call that you're on with people. This might be a number of different things where you're building. And again, this is just a quick overview. We have more to do today, so this is not where we're spending most of our time. But from phase 3, building, you would move into making an offer. This is actually pitching. And from the offer, you would be solving. You're either solving your customer's problem now that they're in your product because they said yes and they became a customer, or you're solving for why they didn't buy. You're assessing what wasn't communicated to them. What do they need instead? Why do they not think your product applies to you? Okay. So these are the 5 layers. We are not, this is a full stack sales funnel. This is amazing. This is something you definitely want to put in place later. What we are looking at today is a very short stack launch funnel. And this is where this is the basis for how you're going to build any kind of larger funnel. We want to make sure that you know how to sell your course right now. Okay. So we're actually going to we're going to work backwards. But the short stack launch funnel is basically that meet where you invite somebody to your resources to get to know you. You're going to give them some sort of sample, and then you're going to pitch them. Don't worry about the questions on the screen yet. This is just an overview of where you're going, okay? So what I want you to do, if you have something to write with, is just draw 3 boxes that are big enough to write some notes in. So you might flip your paper landscape. Draw 3 boxes. You can write meet or invite on top of box number 1. You can write sample on top of box number 2. And then on top of box number 3, you're going to write pitch. And we're going to work backwards. Okay, so we're going to go in order of pitch, sample, meet. But for your customer journey, keep in mind, obviously, they're going to experience it 1, 2, 3. They're going to meet you. They're going to get a sample somehow. And then they're going to make it to the moment where you're pitching. Does that make sense? Okay. So hopefully y'all have that drawn out, and we are going to now get started. So we're doing, again, the last box first. We're going to decide how you will make your best pitch. And again, I told you I have 18 different options for you. Now, 18 is a lot, so the text might be a little small. You might have to blow it up, but I'm definitely going to be explaining these a little bit further as well. So you'll hear them with audio as well. So if you can't see this exact thing right now, maybe take a screenshot and come back to it later. But there are 18 different ways that you can pitch. There are probably more, obviously, but these are 18 ways that I have experience with. And this slide actually shows some of my results with these ways. I've done many of them multiple times, but what I have here is just a few notes on the type of profit that I was able to drive using these different pitch methods, which, as you can see, they're not all do this webinar and then do another webinar, or do this Facebook ad and then do this Facebook ad. There are a lot of different ways that you can pitch. Okay, are you guys excited? Are you guys excited? I need to know. All right. So I'll start with the first one. Number 1, doing a small online conference. And by this, I mean, it doesn't have to be on the scale that this wonderful Teachable event is. It can be something small. So my example of doing this, I'm glad y'all are excited. Thank you. My example of doing this is I actually did the whole online conference myself. I've done this twice. That's probably applicable to what we're talking about right now. One time I interviewed, I think, 11 different people, and I featured their stories of how they went full time with their business. And so I created I think it was like 10 or 11 different interviews. Yeah, it was really fun. I went a little over the top in the sense of I actually traveled in person to meet up with them and record our sessions in person. But part of it was, I just want to get around to different places and see different cities and whatever. So I did it in person. Obviously, y'all can do it for free from your living room. So there was one version where I interviewed 10 different people. The one on this slide right now is one where I did all 7 sessions myself. I chose 7 days in a row, and I did 7 sessions that were all related to one topic, and they were just day after day. And the thing was, if you came live, you could watch the conference for free. If you missed a session, or if you wanted to unlock some bonus challenges, you would pay. And the bonus challenges that you were unlocking was the actual course that I was trying to sell. And that made about $21,000 in profit in less than 7 days. And no Facebook ads or Instagram ads or any types of ads any type of ads were used. In answer to the question, Jennifer, how did you host that? I actually used some very basic webinar software to record the sessions initially. And then I put the recordings in my Teachable course. Like I created a new Teachable course, set my price on it, like $249 or something like this. And I uploaded the recording into the Teachable course. So every day for 7 days straight, when people showed up live, and then I'm telling them about, hey, if you want, for a really great price, $97. It went up every day. 97 one day, it was 140 the next day, whatever. For a really great price, you can access all the recordings in your dashboard and get these 2 extra challenges. So I hosted it live with like a tool like Zoom or Webinar Jam. You can use something like that, okay? Number 2, an ad directly to a sales page. A lot of the times when I'm selling like one-off, one-on-one calls, like if I just want to maybe do a little more customer research, you know, get connected with what people are struggling with right now, I'll offer like a month that I do one-on-one calls. And so a lot of times what I do is instead of emailing out my whole list and saying, hey, do you want to reserve a call? I'll create an Instagram stories ad and offer a call from there. So they swipe up, and keep in mind, right, on Instagram right now, you usually need about 10,000 followers to have the swipe up feature if you're creating an organic story for free. When you're creating an Instagram stories ad, even if you have less than 10,000 followers, fewer than 10,000 followers, you can swipe up. So I have an ad that goes, if they swipe up, it takes them directly to a page that describes the call a little bit more and allows them to book the call. So I've done that before, made about $9,150 in profit in 2 weeks. Does that make sense? Profit, right? So
incredible. That's incredible.
It was really fun. It was really awesome. So on that particular time, I spent $350 for ads. So the total revenue was $9,500. But again, you guys, I'm telling you profit instead of revenue, right? How much money was in my pocket? $9,150. For Grace, who says, what does swipe up mean? When you're watching an Instagram story on your phone, you can actually swipe up if that story links out to an external web page. And that's what I'm talking about right now. People were able to watch my story, swipe up, and then all of a sudden, like be in Chrome or whatever, looking at my page that was describing my one-on-one call. Okay, number 3, sales email and a special interest sequence. So what I do a lot of times, and this applies to those of you who've already built up your email list, a little bit, right? The first time I launched, I had 70 people on my email list, 71 to be exact. So I'm not saying you have to have 1 million people. But anyway, sales email, what I typically do, I'll send out an email. And then if people show interest, like they click on the sales page, I'll send them a special follow-up sequence that goes out only to the people who are really interested. And I convert a lot of extra people in those 3. I usually send about 3 specific emails after they've clicked and shown interest. I send an FAQ email, and I send what I call a use case email, at least those 2 emails. The use case email just kind of shows them, what cases could I use this product in? In what way could this product apply to my life or my business? So I typically make about an extra 11,000 or 16,000. There should be an extra 0 there in profit each month. I use those. Okay. Next one, online workshop. Very similar to what you're seeing right now, where you're just teaching slides, whatever it is you want to do to help people learn a concept. That's not the most recent time I did that. I don't know why I have this one listed here, but there was one time I did that where it was 11,000 in profit in 40 days with no ads. I think that's why I was doing it, because it was the time I didn't use ads. Okay, I'll go quicker through the rest of these. Are y'all interested in this? Are y'all excited about this? Okay.
This is mind blowing. And everyone in the chat, they're just like, these are amazing. Wow. Yeah, great results. I mean, you can see the chat just keeps going and going.
Yeah.
And going.
No, I love it. I love it. Yeah. So number 5, short or mini webinar. So for those of you, I'm so glad y'all are excited. So for example, when I had that client who was like, there's no way for me to do live webinars to pitch my product. One of the things I was able to suggest to her is actually creating a mini webinar that has been pre-recorded. So I sell a book, one of the books that I've published. Book is a strong word, because it's really like a workbook. I would say it's 116 pages, It's a workbook. It does have a little bit of book elements, but mainly it's a planner that helps people create a business plan for their blog to make sure they're using their blog as a business and not just a place to create content if they want to really transition it into a business. So I have this book, right? And it's like all of $18 on Amazon.com. It's a physical book. And I was thinking to myself, like, this, because it's not dated, you can start using it at any date. I'm thinking, I could sell this at any time of the year. It's applicable to people at any time of the year. So I really need to set it up on an evergreen funnel. So where it's always selling. It can be January 1st it's selling. It can be September 12th and it's selling, et cetera, right? So I created a mini webinar that was pre-recorded that, in my case, gave people ideas of how they would use this tool in order to accomplish their goal. People weren't watching it just because they really love learning about what types of workbooks people have available for sale. People were watching it because they wanted to know, is this something that, what tools can help me? Is this something that can help me with my real goal, which is having a blog that is popular, having a blog that helps people, and having a blog that makes money? So I did this mini webinar. It was pre-recorded, and I should have an asterisk here because it doesn't account for the full $25,000 additional profit per year, but it is a strong part of the $25,000 additional profit per year on a book from an evergreen funnel, from a single book, right? So anyway, you guys get the point. You can create a whole email series or email course. It could be paid, it could be free. Number 7, a single piece of content. I once had a single blog post. Back when I was 8 months into my business, I wrote a single blog post. I didn't have any ads. I didn't have a sales page. I had a blog post that described a product, allowed people to apply for it. It was a course. This was before I had discovered Teachable, you guys. So I was like hosting the course on my own site, doing the most. It was so messy. But anyway, that blog post helped me get $17,000 in profit in less than 2 weeks with no ads. It was $22,000 in revenue, but I paid somebody to help me manage the community of the course. And so that's why it was only $17,000 in profit. Your single piece of content might be a video, it might be a podcast episode, it might be a blog post, it might be a guide, it could be a number of different things. I happen to use a blog post. Okay, am I making sense so far? Sorry if the slides are a little blurry. Are you seeing them okay, Jess?
They look good. It's great. I can just let everyone know. If you hover over to the bottom right of the video and click on the gear icon and then select 1020p HD, this should make the quality so much more clear because it might be defaulting to a lower resolution. But yeah, it looks like people are resonating with this. Theodora says, you just gave me an idea on how to use my novels as a workbook. Is it Ramonica? The single piece of content, the blog post, again, because I had spent so much time building up my blog for that 8 months before I released this, I had some SEO juice, right? So my blog was actually appearing in search results. I was sharing it from Pinterest. And so I just had a certain amount of traffic coming to my website each month that allowed enough people to see that blog post, that allowed enough people to apply for my program, that allowed me to get the $17,000 in profit. So I hope that makes sense. Number 8, an intimate group class that you could do online. It could be paid, it could be free. I typically host these. I usually make about $10,000 in profit each month I host them. I usually charge for them because I'm trying to send a message of the value that's going into them. So this is different than just doing a free webinar. This is like, there's an intimate group class I'm hosting. I'm capping the room size at 10 people or whatever it is you want to do. It could be 5 people. Sometimes I do it like 5, sometimes I do it 30, depending on what the point of the class is. And I'll say something like, I'm going to teach for 60 minutes straight on X topic. And then for the last 60 minutes, I'm just going to go back and forth with you, everyone who shows up live, and I'm going to get into your specific business, your specific case with you, right? So they get this kind of almost like group coaching, if you will. So that's actually number 10 as well. Sometimes I do it where there is group coaching. Sometimes I do it where there's not a lot of group coaching. There's a little bit of Q&A. So it just depends on how you want to position it. So anyway, number 8. Number 9,
Pre-qualification, some type of pre-qualification for people to get on this call with you. You could call this an info session. I literally will just give a tour of my product. If people have been on my list or been watching on Instagram or somehow they're aware of this product and they're just wondering, at the end of the day, keep in mind, y'all, everyone's going to wonder, will it work for me? All of your students, whether you teach gardening, from an apartment, how can you set up a garden on your apartment balcony, or whether you teach feminist scrapbooking or you teach whatever, at some point the person's going to have a subconscious question of, I see her point, I see his point, but is this really going to work for me? A lot of times I will literally host an info session just to answer that question. So I'll do some type of pre-qualification. The person has to know the price of the product or something like that, and then they can get onto a group info session. I'll limit the size, keep it to usually about 10 people, and they can come ask any questions that they want about the product. And usually, you guys, I'm sharing my screen and I'm showing my Teachable dashboard. The Teachable dashboard is showing that individual course that they're considering purchasing. So they're actually seeing behind the scenes and they're going, oh my gosh, there's step 1. That looks so interesting. And step 2 and step 3. And look, there's a 30-minute video for step 4. And they're just getting excited because they're seeing the visual of what the product includes. And they can ask any question. Oh, well, do you help us with blank inside this course? Hey, yeah, actually, come here to step 10. As soon as you register, come here to step 10. And that's going to answer your question. Oh, but hey, can you help me with this? And so I'll do a group info session that allows me typically to sell multiple people. Every time I host a call that has 5 or 7 people, I usually sell at least 2 spots, 2 or 3 spots to those 5 to 7 people in whatever it is that I'm selling. Because again, these people are pre-qualified. They already had an idea of what the price was. Does that make sense? Okay, hopefully that does. Okay, yeah, absolutely. I'm looking at some of my pen is smoking from all these notes I'm taking. That's awesome. Okay, so number 10, small group coaching, like I was talking about. Number 11, having a one-on-one call with a specific audience outcome. The most boring thing in the world, and I'm sorry, this might sound harsh, and you can, I would recommend going and just making some slight changes on your website if you offer this. But the most boring thing in the world is when you say something to somebody like, get on a free call with me. Let's talk. Let's take a chat for 15 minutes. Let's do a coffee chat, to talk about your needs or something like that, something very basic like that. Instead, you can use that same 20-minute call that you're going to give to somebody for free, and you're going to add a specific audience outcome for the person and make it more desirable. So if you're a finance coach and what you're really hoping to sell somebody on is your 6-month, course on getting your whole financial life together and saving your first $10,000, I don't know exactly what your course would be on. If you wanted to do that, instead of getting on these random calls, hey, let's get on a discovery session, see if we're right to work together or something like that, you could do something different. You could say, hey, get on my, 30-day budget busting call or whatever. What we're going to do during this call is look at how you're currently budgeting. I'm going to share my awesome system for budgeting that is only going to take you an extra 5 minutes per week. And then we can talk about how we might work together in the future to help you reach your goals. So you might have a better name for it than budget busting call, but you have some kind of tangible thing. Oh, I'm going to have a 30-day plan. Oh, look at that mock-up of the spreadsheet that I'm going to have filled out by the time I get off this call with her or with him. Giving them that visual, giving them that understanding of something specific, a specific outcome is going to help you convert more people to your one-on-one calls. Does that make sense? Make sure the call has a direct goal. Exactly. Love that. Okay. Next one, having DM conversations. A lot of times you might create a post on Instagram, and instead of, not having a call to action, or instead of having a call to action of like, comment below if you were feeling me. Yeah, everyone. A lot of times what I'll do is actually invite people to DM me. So, hey, DM me, this special code word, and I'll give you an expanded list of how to do blank. DM me, a simple wave, and I will talk to you about blankety blankety blank. Give them some reason to do it. And people can be more open in their DMs. So if you do coach or teach something more private, like finances, relationships, spirituality, blah, 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 any number of things, people can be more open in the DMs because it's not, out there for the world to see. And then you can actually end up having a great conversation. You can use voice in Instagram. You can just hold down a button and leave them a 60-second voice note instead of typing so much. So that's another way that I connect and actually pitch people products. Number 13, masterclass. I personally usually will have a guided application to a more expensive program. So there will be an application that people are actually filling out while they're live on the masterclass. The last time I did this, it was 18,000 profit in 2 weeks. So no ads, and we're not talking revenue. We're talking take home in your pocket profit. Number 14, you can host a challenge. It can be live, it can be evergreen, it can be paid, it can be free. And a challenge is usually an audience guided challenge that leads people through a number of steps. Or has people repeat an action for a number of days. I'm going to have you actually, get up and do a morning mantra for, 7 days straight and see if you don't start feeling more confidence and more energy throughout your day. That might be my challenge, and I might give you little tips and meditations every day. Or I might take you through a guided process. We're going to do 10 steps in 10 days. By the end of this, you will have, created your own budget from scratch, whatever it is. All right, hopefully I'm not taking too long on these, and hopefully y'all are still excited to hear these last few ones.
There's been some really big aha moments in here. And also just know, if anyone's typing in questions, we will have a Q&A as well for Regina, so we can really dive in if we do miss any of your questions too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks, Jess, for saying that. Number 15, pre-qualification and a one-on-one guided tour or call. I always put the pre-qualification in front of there because what I don't want y'all to do is spend too much of your time on the line with somebody who's not in a position to really receive help from you, right? I want to make sure, like I have a person who just, one of those DM conversations I was having, she was saying, listen, I still work a full-time job right now. So I only have time to get on one-on-one calls on the weekends. Right now I'm doing 7 calls a day on the weekends, and I just don't have any more time for any more calls. And so for us, right, our goal is to help her pre-qualify her calls better so that her closing rate goes up, right? So instead of having 7 calls a day for the weekend, so like let's say 14 calls per weekend to get 3 new customers, just as an example, these aren't her exact numbers. What we could do is try to narrow or, move it down a little bit to maybe she's having 10 calls over the weekend and she's able to close 6 of those customers or something like that, right? So pre-qualifying people really, really helps. You can pre-qualify by maybe only offering these calls to people who have paid you for something in the past, a smaller product, a smaller course from you. You can pre-qualify by making sure people know the price of your product or service. You can pre-qualify in a number of different ways, but then you can get on a one-on-one call with them. I found the last time I offered these pre-qualified, people knew the price and they knew what the service was ahead of time, and they got a little dashboard unlocked to them in Teachable. When they knew this ahead of time, I found that I closed, I think it was 90% of the calls. So I wasn't wasting their time by getting them on a call for something they wouldn't be able to invest in, and I wasn't wasting my time. Does that make sense? Okay. So number 16, in-person events, paid or free. I shared with y'all, I started building my business actually in person, teaching classes in person. And a lot of you have the desire to connect in person. I didn't have the desire, to be clear. I'm not only an introvert, but I'm painfully shy in person. So this is just my, webinar workshop personality. But in person, I can be a little bit awkward. So in person wasn't actually my preferred way. It was just the way that presented itself to me. I had an idea. I was like, I can execute on that. Okay, I'm going to do it because I really want to help people. And it got me over that hump. But a lot of you you're great with in-person events and you like that energy and you know that you can grow your audience that way. So you might do that. I'm on the last two, promise here, you guys. The 17th one that I have used is I created a group ahead of time. So remember that online conference I told y'all about where I did these 11 different interviews with people? I actually created a group, a Facebook group, where people could come chat with each other during the time of this conference, which was overall, I think it was over maybe a 30-day time period. That Facebook group, I nurtured it, I taught in it for free, added content, helped to create great conversations. And then I used that group a couple years later. So this was not an overnight thing. I used that group a couple years later, and I created one single post in that group. Hey, here's this course that I have. I'm offering it to you group members first. I did better language than this. I'm offering it to you group members first, and then I'll email it out to my entire list. If you want some of the spots that are at this crazy price, then join now. Better wording, but 50,000 in profit in 5 days. And I was actually 10,000 in profit within a few minutes, no more than in a couple of hours. I can't remember exactly. But it was just the exclusivity of it that really helped drive that. Okay. And then lastly, a workshop series. This is one method that I like the most because I like to teach. And so I did a set of 3 workshops over 3 weeks and was able to drive about 100,000 in profit during that time. Okay. So do you agree, now that I have taken half of your life to explain these 18 different ways, do you agree that there is something other than a webinar available to you to pitch your product? And I'm not trying to discourage you from a webinar, if a webinar still makes the most sense. Okay, so let me know in the chat, what was the price point of number 17? I started it at the course that I was selling started at $500, but then I kept adding. I have a problem, y'all. I sell something and then I'll keep adding to it. I'm like, oh, I need to teach this now and I need to do this. So it ended at $1,300 because it kind of transformed into a whole different thing. But when I sold the first 10,000 in profit, came at the 500 price point, and then I put it up to 600 and then 700 and so on. Yes, so you're not going to necessarily. Oh, what? What did Jamie say?
Oh, Jamie says, point well taken. And Danielle Grigsby says, yes, queen.
I love it. So great, guys. You're not going to necessarily know how to do every single thing on this list right now, right? Totally understandable. That would be a much longer, we don't have 200 hours. So I'm going to keep it short. But what I do want to tell you is all of these things are possible. What's really at the heart of every single one of these things is narrowing down who you're targeting, who you are offering these things to, and teaching, really serving and teaching, which is, I'm sure, why you're here. So you're probably wondering, okay, Regina, super great. It's love. It's all love. You're telling me I have ways other than a webinar. I don't have an audience, Regina. Like, what? How do you expect me to pitch in a group or on a piece of content or on a workshop or on a one-on-one call when I don't have an audience? Guess what? I'm going to answer that question. Okay. So first off, you're going to fill in, I had you draw those boxes. You're going to fill in number 3, the third one, in just a second, the pitch portion. But first, I just want to help you really quickly how you might think about which pitch to decide on. Okay. So how will you pitch your course? We're going to break this down into basically 5 price points. So, and this is going to be dependent upon your audience. You're going to break this down into a no-brainer price, low, medium, premium, or high end. And you're going to figure out where in this chart you are, right? So a no-brainer price to your audience might be different than a no-brainer price to somebody else's audience. I was on some guy's website the other day and I was reading it. I was reading a blog post. I scrolled down to the bottom just to see how long it was before I really got into the blog post. And when I scrolled down to the bottom, I saw, oh, he has just a course on this topic. I don't want to read this blog post if he has a course on the topic, because the course will always be there and I can get back to it whenever I want. The blog post, I feel like I have to read now for some reason. So I just bought his course right there in that moment. And I can't tell you his first and last name to save my life. I don't even remember who this guy was, but his course was $50. After he sold me the $50 course, he immediately upsold to a $199 different course, and I bought that too. And it was with my first experience with this person because I really wanted the content, right? So for his audience, maybe $50 was the no-brainer price because of what they want to learn. There are other things that I won't pay $50 for ever, right? But for this particular thing that I wanted to learn, the $50 and then even the $200, I didn't like, go back and forth like, what should I do? What should I do? I just made the decision. So for your audience, is no-brainer under 97? Is it under 49? You have to be the one to kind of determine what that is. So is your course going to be priced no-brainer? Is it going to be low where your audience is like, that's not that much. I'll take the chance. It's not no-brainer. I had to think about it for a second, but I'll take the chance. Is yours medium? Where it's like now the person's stopping to think for a little bit longer. Okay, it's a little bit of an investment. How will I use this thing? Okay, cool. I'm going to buy it. Is it more premium? What would your audience view as premium? Where they're starting to really have to maybe they're having to ask a partner, hey, this budget that we have set aside for, education, for fun, entertainment, can I use 1,000 of it to buy this, course? Is that the price point that's kind of premium for them? And what's high end? What do they really have to do I want this? This is like going back to school. So I have some loosely suggested, you have to understand for your industry and your person what no-brainer, low, medium, premium, and high end are. But I have, some general prices in here, which this might apply to anyone who has a full-time job, or maybe they have a business on the side that's making them some money. Maybe anything under, maybe 99, maybe it's 49 is kind of no-brainer for them if they want it. Maybe under 199 is low, it's still manageable. Maybe under 500 is medium. Okay, I have to think about it, but in general, if I want it, I'll go for it. And then premium starts to happen maybe around 700, 800, 1,000, and high end over 5,000. These are just suggestions, again, y'all. So you have to kind of decide what is it for your audience. So then this is a lot, so you might want to take a screenshot. And these are just suggestions. So I just showed y'all 18 ways, right? And I took way too long explaining each one of them because I wanted you to understand, what they were. So those 18 ways, some of them are actually now under here as suggestions for your first string pitch. If I have a medium price, course that's medium price to my audience, the first string pitch, the thing that I'm going to try first, and if not, maybe I'll come in with a second string, I'll come in with a backup, a fail safe. But my first string pitch that I'm going to try is going to be blank. It's going to be a masterclass, or it's going to be that group coaching experience that Regina was talking about, where I invite maybe 10 people at a time. So the room is really intimate. And this is a key that a hint that I give you. Intimate is always code for you don't know how many people are going to show up, right? Like if you're just starting with webinars or just starting with teaching online, you can use that term intimate, steal it, because it means you don't know how many people are going to show up. So if you do this thing and you said it's an intimate training and there are only 5 people there or 2 people there, they're like, oh, he was serious. She was serious. This is an intimate room. I love that. If you say it's an intimate training and 15 people show up, then people are going to be like, oh, that's their definition of an intimate. And it is intimate when you compare it to 170 people. If 30 people show up, it's still an intimate training when you compare it to 500 people showing up. So a lot of times when I don't know how many people are going to come, I will advertise it as an intimate group class. And a lot of times I cut off registration to make sure, that it doesn't get too crazy and then it's not intimate at all. I didn't advertise as intimate, but I've had where it's 1,100, 1,300 people are actually live at the same time on a webinar that I've done. I expected there to be more registrants, so I did not say it was an intimate class. Does that make sense? Intimate is code for I don't know how many people are coming. Courtney says quaint. I like that. So anyway, the idea is I want you to first understand, where does your course fall pricing wise between the no-brainer and high-end spectrum? And then based on that, which method of those 18 methods, or maybe you had an extra idea, you had a 19th idea, which method are you going to choose to pitch? Which one sets you up for the best pitch? Because I guarantee you, if you're trying to sell something premium, that in-person events or having a direct message conversation, DM conversation back and forth, where you're getting into that person's business or life or homeschooling or whatever it is that you teach or help people with, that's going to convert better. If you do a pre-qualification and then get on a one-on-one call with somebody before you ask them for $1,500, that's going to convert better than a single blog post asking them for $1,500 if $1,500 is premium to your audience. Does that make sense? Because you really can't use the same approach for a no-brainer price a lot of the times as that you can for a high-end price. I mean, obviously, y'all are really smart, so you get that concept. But my challenge to you is to figure out, does my audience consider my course price medium, low, premium, no-brainer, high-end? Which one would they, you can ask people, which one would they consider? And therefore, what makes the most sense? Should I do like a group information session? It's people who already know what the product is and they just want to come ask a few questions. Should I do a one-on-one information session? Do I want people to apply? So if I want people to apply because I don't want just anyone in my course, then should I do like a longer masterclass, like maybe a 90-minute masterclass and have an application that they're filling out while they're on the masterclass? That's one that I use a lot. Okay, hopefully that makes some sense, because now at least a rough draft, you're gonna fill in number 3. You're gonna fill in your top maybe 2 ideas for how you're going to pitch. Oh my gosh, Lexi, you're amazing. Speaker crush, you're so amazing. Yes, okay, perfect. Definitely keep that question for the end. I think that's Mark. I definitely wanna answer that. Okay, so fill in number 3, you might have written, okay, I'm gonna do a pre-qualification and I'm gonna do a one-on-one call. That's my top method. But I also really like what Regina was saying about a masterclass that's intimate, where they can ask any questions they want to, but it has an application attached to it. So I'm gonna write those 2 ideas down for pitch. Remember, we're working backwards. So we haven't yet gotten to how you're gonna get new people to figure out who you are, but we're gonna get to that very soon. The second thing that we're gonna do is help you decide what type of content, what type of free sample, or you'll hear people say freebie, lead magnet, opt-in, all kinds of words. But basically, it's a sample of how helpful you are. It's a sample of what you can do for the person. So what type of content, what type of free sample, what type of incentives are going to even get people to show up to your pitch? So we just decided what your pitch might be, number 3, right? The third thing. What's your pitch going to be? Okay, I decided the one-on-one call or the masterclass. Now we're moving a step back and we're going, well, once you have an audience, which is our next thing, once you have an audience, how do you even motivate them to get to your one-on-one call? How do you motivate them to show up to your masterclass? So that's what we want to answer right now. But I lied, because that's not really the question we want to answer. We actually want to know how people in your audience are most likely to be motivated. Before you decide, ooh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a trailer video where I get into the 7 different facets of blankety blankety blank. Before you go down that rabbit hole of all the different types of content you can create on Instagram, let alone YouTube, let alone your blog, let alone Facebook Live. For some reason, it comes with a lot of hand gestures. Y'all can't see, you're only seeing my slides right now, which is probably great because I'm gesturing and doing the most. But anyway, the whole point is you don't want to actually get into the specific piece of content before you figured out what even motivates people. Am I still here? I can't tell. Like, it looked like
you're good. You're good. I was gonna switch to your video, and then I was like, nah, I'm gonna leave
it. Okay. So we have this huge question of what motivates people, and what I want to show you is what I call the 3 Ps. So myself and one of my business partners, her name is Allie, you've seen her with the red hair, she's been in some of the slides, came up with the 3 Ps. And basically any type of motivation that you want to do online to get people ready and excited to show up to a pitch, to invest in your course, maybe even some of you are doing coaching, it's going to be one of these 3 Ps. Going to be one of these. Oh, Cindy, you're so sweet. Y'all are all so sweet. Morel, is that how I see your name? Thank you. Okay. So, oh, is Allie there? Allie's there. Okay, she's in the chat waving hi to y'all. Okay, so it's going to be one of these 3 Ps that that Allie and I came up with. Okay, so pre-work, you can think of this as prep. What do you need to do to prep people? Pain points, you can think of these as problems. And then possibilities. And this is where people are just imagining the potential. So remember when I started this this training, Jess and I started, I told you guys my very kind of personal story of how much it broke my heart when a family member asked me for some money, and I had negative balance in my bank account. I literally had no way to provide them the money. And because I worked a job that gave me a certain amount of money twice a month, I had no way of creating any extra money. I told you that story. And for me, that was a pain point. But for you, you might have started thinking, and you might have felt me on that pain point. You might have had a time where you had somebody ask you for some money, or there was something you wanted to do for somebody and it just wasn't possible. And so when I told that story, you might have been like, oh girl, I feel you. I feel you so hard. I feel you. That was me a year ago, or, that just happened to me yesterday. So you might have felt that pain point. And then I could have gone on to tell you a story of, which is a real life story, right? Of, now I get to, anytime a family member has a great, idea and they need a little bit of money to just help them get their thing out into the world, I'm able to lend it to them, I could tell you, real life stories about how when I started in business, nobody in my family owned their own business, but I started meeting with them once a week. My brother and I started meeting with them once a week, once a month. And by the time we were done with these family masterminds, 90% of my family own their own business. I have personal trainers in my family. We have a lawyer who has his own firm. We have nurses who have a home healthcare business, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And this was all possible because, well, anyway, you guys get the point. So I could be telling these stories, and you are relating, if you're an ideal audience member, you're relating to the possibility. Like, oh my gosh, wouldn't that be so cool? Maybe I could actually employ some of my family members, or maybe, blankety, blankety, blank. Or if I'm telling a story with pain points, you're like, dang, that happened to me. Does this make sense? So these are the 3 Ps, but let me just go a little further. So with pre-work or prep, some things that you can do. You can form steps of whatever it is you do into a challenge for your audience. And again, we're talking about how do you motivate somebody to get to the place where they would be showing up to your webinar, showing up to your one-on-one call, showing up or signing up for your, free email course, right? So you can maybe form steps of whatever it is you want to teach into a challenge. You can try to give your audience some quick wins. Here's how you do this one quick step. If you only have 5 minutes today, this might be an Instagram post or whatever. If you only have 5 minutes today, but you're trying to, maybe you're trying to set up an amazing homeschool situation for your kids, and, you're a little overwhelmed with all the different, curriculum that you can choose, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? If you only have 5 minutes today, I have a quick process, 3 questions. If you ask yourself these questions and answer them honestly, you're going to be one step closer to, forming your perfect homeschool curriculum. Okay, I'm just making stuff up off the top of my head. Obviously, if you teach homeschool stuff, you would say something way smarter there. But that could be a quick win, because then your audience answers those 3 questions and they're like, oh, snap, that's what I can do. Oh, perfect. Okay, what else should I do? So next point, you can help people increase their self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is that feeling of, I can do it. Right? So that's why when you start with a new personal trainer at the gym, they don't take you immediately to the hardest, machine in the gym and go, hey, have fun. Boom. Got it. You got it, champ. Go for it. Let me see you work, when you don't even know how to use the machine. They take you and they do some stuff that doesn't even relate to machines. They're like, here's the proper form for a lunge. Let's do an assessment of where you're at. Let's get on the treadmill and walk for 5 minutes and see if you can still talk to me while you're walking at such and such pace. Great. Awesome. Regina, good job. You were able to talk to me. You were able to do a perfect lunge. When you come back next week, we're going to work on blank. So my self-efficacy was increased, right? Because I was able to walk on the treadmill or do the lunge. So you get the point, right? You can help them increase their self-efficacy. You can give or sell as something that will help that person actually get ready for your deeper offers. Does this make sense? Cindy, thank you for being in the chat. Next one, pain points. Appeal to them using what they already know is off. You as the person who's selling a course, use what your audience member already knows is off in their life, in their business, in their home, in their whatever that is that you help with, their relationship, and talk about that. You can spin it positive, you can spin it negative, but it's a pain point, it's a problem. And they have already identified it as a problem. They already know they're not communicating well with their partner. They already know that their homeschool curriculum is disorganized and is not going to lead towards the best outcomes for their kids trying to get in college. They already know that they are not marketing properly for their business. So use what they already know is off, or help them define the things they sense are wrong. Have y'all ever found that you have audience members who can't quite put words to what's going wrong in their life, in their relationship, in their business, in their whatever it is you help with, their finances? They can't quite put words to it. But as soon as you put the words to it and challenge them with that knowledge, they're like, oh, that's it. I haven't been putting myself out there. How am I going to have a great presence as an author and a coach and somebody who wants to get speaking engagements if I can't even get on Facebook Live? You're right, Allie, that's my problem. You're right, Nikki, that's my problem, whatever, right? So help them define the things they sense are wrong. Use emotional scheduling. This is something Allie and I talk about, where basically, and I'll explain this really briefly, there's so much depth to this, but it's basically when you know your audience so well that you can imagine when they wake up on a Monday morning, what they're feeling. You can imagine when they go to bed on a Saturday night, what mood they're in. So you might be helping that homeschool mom. And so you know that on Monday morning when she wakes up, if she has a disorganized curriculum, she's starting a whole nother week, or a homeschool dad or a homeschool whoever. They're starting a whole nother week where they're feeling out of control. Like they could have had a better system in place. So emotional scheduling means that on Instagram or through your email or whatever it is you use, on Monday morning, you have some type of post that's like, listen, if you're feeling disorganized, there's hope. Or that's a better way to say that might be like, if you're feeling out of control, it's not you, it's your curriculum. And let me show you how to get better curriculum in place that's going to help you know where to be at with your homeschool efforts every day of the week. Whatever, you'll get the point. Emotional scheduling. Show the pain point and show what the relief of that pain looks like. Oh, I'm so glad, Sarah. Thank you for saying this. So next up is possibilities or potential, if you want to talk about it like that. This is where you highlight the before and afters, maybe your own before and after, maybe clients before and after, maybe just potential before and after. Make up a fictional character. Obviously, let your audience know it's fictional. Like, let's talk about a man named Bob. Bob is someone who, shows up to work every day, blah, blah, blah. You get what I'm saying? You can tell a before and after fictional story. Another thing you can do in the possibilities thing is to challenge your audience's assumptions, especially if you have like a really motivated audience, or an audience that feels like high achievers, or an audience that feels very educated, very smart. Challenge their assumptions, challenge the methods that they're approaching something in a nice way, in a way that works for them, and see if that doesn't help them go, oh, you know what? I never thought about it like that. I could be approaching the problem like that. Oh, I'm going to show up to this person's webinar. If they made me think in this simple Instagram post, or if they made me stop and think on this 5-minute Facebook Live, or this, 200-word email, yeah, I'm going to show up to their webinar. Share portfolio pieces, share case studies, share success stories. Have I made sense with the 3 Ps, you guys? Okay.
Heck yes.
So, okay, great. All right, so we're not going to stick on this slide. Basically, what I'm trying to show you is visually. Back a few slides ago, you decided, is my course no-brainer priced for my audience? Is it low? Is it medium? Is it premium? Is it high-end? Whichever one you decided, you also decided theoretically what your pitch was going to be. Now I'm asking you, which of the 3 Ps are you going to use to motivate your audience? And you have to know your audience, which, is why it's great to just get out there and manually engage with your audience, talk with them at networking events, talk with them at conferences, talk with them online, talk with them in Facebook groups. What motivates them? And you can just test it out, right? You can test out pain point content and see if that's motivating them. If you're getting signups, you can test out pre-work content. You can test out possibilities. What I have found, what Allie and I have found whenever we run workshops where we actually work with people back and forth on which one they're going to use, one of them emerges as a clear winner. It's not like, oh, I don't know, I think I should be using all three. One of them emerges as a clear winner, and then one or two other can maybe be used to support the main P that you're going to use. But one of them emerges as a clear winner. Okay. So now what you're going to do on your sheet, okay, is fill in number 2, which is sample. And you're not filling in the exact piece of content, whether it's an Instagram post or you're going to do a series of Facebook Lives or you're going to dance or you're going to do blog posts. You're not filling out exactly what the content is right now in the sample box. I just want you to fill in the P that you think will most likely motivate your audience. Was it pre-work? Was it pain points? Was it possibilities? You can go back and write your specific ideas later. Okay. Now we're going to get to the thing. And that was Allie, by the way, if y'all missed it. Allie's on the right, Regina's on the left. Now we're going to get to the place that you probably were wondering, all right, Regina, your talk was real cute, but how do I get in front of new people? How do I even get somebody to be looking at this free sample and this pain points, pre-work possibilities? Oh, is it Shanna or Shauna says, you fit my step-by-step brain. I love that. That is definitely, so Allie and I, we definitely try to do very step-by-step. Okay, so here's an old theory. There's this old theory, or I should call other theory. It's still talked about a lot online, that there are 3 main ways that you can get in front of new people. And this is earned media, owned media, and paid media. Earned, they say, is where you get press mentions and people are sharing you, reviewing you, reposting you, etc. You've earned this coverage. Owned media, they say, is like your website. They say it's your blog. They say it's your social media channels. I already throw an asterisk on that with prejudice because I don't think you own your social media channels, right? I think they're very valuable. I love being on social media, which is a lot for a shy introvert to say, but you don't own it, right? You can lose access to that content at any given time, right? Instagram could shut your content down. Your Medium blog could be taken offline. Mine got caught up in some kind of spam filter where they thought my Medium site was spam, and it was offline for a few months before I even noticed it. That can happen, right? It's back online now, but you get the point, right? If you don't really own it, you don't have control over it. And then lastly, they say paid media. They say, here's where your Instagram ads are, pay-per-click ads. Maybe you're paying influencers to talk about your stuff, et cetera, okay? Deborah, you're hilarious. This is just one theory, right, that people have put out online. This is how people talk about how you can get exposure. So the better approach, in our opinion, and yes, we made it bright yellow so that there would be a, whoa, okay, we've moved on to a new slide. The better approach, in our opinion, has 5 parts. And we're going to get into examples with these, but I specifically want to highlight that the top row, the top 3 that I'm going to talk about are going to be your more immediate ways to get in front of new people. So this is kind of the short, if you want results in the short term, if you're like, I would like to sell one of my courses, or 5 spots in my course in the next 30 days, I'd like to be doing XYZ in revenue or profit in the next 60, 90 days, you're going to want to focus a lot of your time and attention on the more immediate way to get in front of new people. I do believe in the power of long-term strategies, though. The health and wellness website that Allie and I run makes thousands of dollars per month in income because the search engine optimization is built up. And even I have a website, byregina.com, and if you that site itself, right, the email list is growing every day and traffic is coming to it every day because of the search engine optimization. People are searching on Pinterest, they're searching on Google, and they're being led to my sites, health and wellness and business related sites every single day. But that didn't happen overnight. Okay, I have to watch this 15 times, says Katrina. I love it. Anyway, so shared and discovered take a little bit longer. I'm going to explain what these things mean, but let's get into these really quickly. Okay, engaged with naturally for free. This is one of the top row ones. This might be striking up a conversation in a coffee shop. This might be chatting up a potential client at a conference that you attend, co-working event, networking event, or yes, I guess a co-working event. This might be starting a conversation in a Facebook group. This might be joining a conversation already happening in a Facebook group or somewhere else online. This might be manually engaging people on Instagram. I have an asterisk by that because the very next slide I'm going to show you is my results after 2 weeks of manually engaging on Instagram for a brand new brand, okay? This might be answering questions on LinkedIn or another online forum. Also, it's like that time where I was hit in my car by a driver under the influence. As a result, I hit the car in front of me. The guy I hit and we pull over to the side of the road. We start talking. By the end of this conversation, this guy signed up for my email list, not on purpose, right? It's not like I hit his car and then I was like, hey, bro, I know I just hit your car, but like, do you want to make money blogging? I can tell you how. Like, it's just that we had a natural conversation progress. And even when I called my insurance agent to report the accident, they asked some kind of question, what's your job or something that led to telling, and then they're like, oh my gosh, I went to your website and signed up for your free challenge. So I tell this story because it's conversation, y'all. Engaging with people naturally and for free is literally just having conversations with other humans that you consider interesting. It's the way marketing has been done since the beginning of time. Before we had interruption-based marketing, which is like you're trying to watch the new episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, if anyone watches that, but the Charmin commercial comes on, and then the commercial for this new movie, and then this and that and the other. That's interruption-based marketing. You log on to Facebook, and instead of seeing your friends' baby pictures, you're seeing an ad from so-and-so person's business. That's interruption-based marketing. Before we had billboards on the side of the road, we just had conversation. And that's what I'm talking about here, okay? And so let's talk really quickly. I'm just gonna show a slide so you can see the so far results of my new brand. I'm only using manual engagement on Instagram, and I had to set for myself the constraint that I can't use my current platforms to promote the new one. So you're, cheating in essence. Believe me, if you do, take the time and spend money and time to establish a brand and you have 18,000 followers on Instagram and you start a new brand, absolutely, use one brand to cross promote the other one. I'm not dissing that at all. I did not use it. I'm making this agreement with myself to not use that for the first 90 days so that I can show y'all what it's like to actually build from scratch without another Instagram account that has 18,000 followers already, right? All right, so here I have crossed out the names because again, I can't use my current platform to get people to follow this one. So you can't see my Instagram name there or the URL. So I apologize for that, but these are screenshots. And this is after 14 days, including today. Today is day 14. I will be honest, I got so busy. I'm putting that in quotes because we all feel like we get so busy. I got so busy and I didn't do the manual engagement all of the 14 days. I did it for 5 of the days. But you can see the progression of when I started the account and started following my account myself. And then as I started I added 9 posts. I did design these myself. I have a graphic design background, but I'm not the best designer in the world or anything, y'all, but I designed these myself, added my 9 posts and started manually engaging. And so you can see it moved up to 27 followers. And then I kept manually engaging. You can see I would log onto my account and see things like that third phone over where I have 16 new comments and 17 new likes and 5 new followers, right?
That's more than a lot of people with like 10,000 followers.
And it's through manual engagement, it's through conversation, right? Like it's not some magical, mystical thing. I have not spent any money to promote this. Those were my rules for the first 90 days. For the first 30 days, no money, and I can't use my current audience. And the first 90 days is going to be, you can't use your current audience, Regina. You have to do this from scratch. And so then you can see what it was sitting at a little bit earlier today when I took a final screenshot of 70 followers. So you guys see that within 14 days, 5 days of doing manual engagement for about 30 minutes a day, I was able to build up 70 followers. And I did not a keynote before I show you the next slide, I did not promote my email list at all. The only way somebody would have gotten onto my email list is if they came back to my profile, saw that I was offering something, and decided to sign up for it. So none of my posts, are promoting my email list. I haven't promoted my email list yet. So it just naturally grew to about 10 people. I don't know why I said about, that's the exact number. I have exactly 10 people on my email list for this new brand right now, and I have exactly 70 Instagram followers. So if I don't change my actions at all, which would be silly, you need to promote, you tell people that you have an email list, tell people why they should sign up. But let's just say I get super lazy. Katrina, I'm going to answer your question in a second. And I don't do anything different. Then here are my projections. After a month, I'll have 140 followers and 20 Instagram email list subscribers. After 2 months, 280 Instagram followers and 40 subscribers, and then so on. I won't insult y'all's intelligence by just reading these to you. But after a year, if I just did not change my actions and just did the same thing, which is manually engaging about 10 days in a month, and not promoting my email list, again, not smart. After a year, I'd have 1,680 followers and 240 people on my list. You are so funny, Sia. So you guys get this, right? This is what you could theoretically do. When I say manual engagement, just as a note, to answer the question, I'm talking about, I go on Instagram, I find people who I think might fit my ideal audience, and I have a specific way that I do that. We don't have enough time to get into all of that, but Allie and I have a specific way we teach that we do that. We go find people who might be in our ideal audience. We start to comment on their content. We like their content. I follow the people who I actually want to be following. I don't do follow, unfollow. If you don't follow me, I don't follow you back, blah, 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 blah. I just follow the people who I think are interesting, and I want to see their content in my feed. So as you can see here, that's been 35 people since I started my account. All right, so happy? Yes, we saw the results. Does that make sense? My mind is too blown right now. Thanks, Tyler.
This is so great to see like a real life example too. I think it's much more relatable than just kind of like a made up, like you could do this.
You could do this theoretically if maybe the stars aligned and the crow flew at a 90-degree. Yeah, no, I actually did that for 14 days. Including today, so that y'all could see what the heck I was talking about. Alicia says, I need a nap after this, then I need to watch it again and again. I love you people in this chat right now.
Right.
All right, borrowed. There's Allie and Regina again. You're going to see a lot of us in this slide presentation because we're like, hey, let's just use our own pictures here. Borrowed. So this is actually, again, this is one of the top 3 ways that I was talking about. It's most immediate. This is borrowing from another entity that already has an established audience, okay? So this could be an entity like a brand, this could be a person, this could be, whatever entities have their own Instagram accounts, their own email lists, their own websites, their own podcasts. You can borrow some of their audience's attention for a moment, right? You could be a guest on their podcast. You could be a part of a co-hosted Instagram Live. You could be a presenter, a guest presenter in someone else's free community, free Facebook group, free whatever, or their paid community or paid mastermind. Y'all know that you can actually do, paid memberships, right? Or Bushra, if y'all watched her session, she calls them recurring revenue engines. You might have people who pay you $17 a month, $97 a month to be a part of your quote unquote membership. Well, guess what? A lot of those people who run their own paid memberships like to invite guest presenters who really add value into their membership to teach their members something new that maybe is not that person's specialty, right? You have a membership, you don't teach X, but you do teach Y. You invite somebody else who teaches X to teach your audience. So that could be a way that you borrow the attention of someone else's audience. You could do a share for share on Instagram. I just poured a glass of wine. Oh my gosh, I love y'all. You could speak at a conference or somebody else's event in real IRL, in real life. You could speak at an online conference or a summit. You could co-host a webinar. Or you could co-host an in real life event with somebody. I've done that before, right? Where we combined our powers. You know, we have one person over here who doesn't have a following online, but they have a specialty. And then we have this person who does have a following and a specialty. And then there's me, I have some of a following and a specialty, and we all combined together and did a co-hosted event. And that means now we're cross-exposed to each other's audiences. You could write a guest post on a website, guest blog post. You could, what I did earlier in the days, oh my gosh, a couple of years back, I started writing freelance articles for Entrepreneur. This was a double, kill two vegan birds with one stone kind of thing. Because number one, it gave me a little bit of credibility, right? I can put, Entrepreneur, I've written for Entrepreneur. And then number two, it put me in front of people who might want to click back onto my website. So it sent me traffic. You could appear in someone else's YouTube video, their Facebook Live. You could be featured in a Twitter chat. I know I've already taken up half y'all's life, so I'm not trying to take up another half. So I'll keep going, but borrowed. And so this is a more immediate style of getting in front of new people. Obviously, if you already have these connections created and you can just pitch another entity, you could do this tomorrow, today. If you don't, you might have to spend a week, a month, 2 months building relationships with a bunch of different entities and then pitching them. But in general, it's a more short-term strategy. The next one is pushed. This is something that's pushed on the other person, often for a price. And by pushed, we simply mean it's an unexpected contact, right? So if I'm driving down the interstate and I see a billboard, that was forced on me. I just was looking out at the traffic and I saw your billboard. If I'm watching a show and I see your commercial, that was forced on me. I didn't ask you to tell me about your toilet paper. If I log into my Facebook or Instagram to check up with my friends, I didn't ask to see your ad. So that's what we mean by pushed. If I open my email and I have a cold email from somebody I've never heard of before, I didn't ask for that email, it was pushed. So this could be running a Facebook ad. Chazzy said, girl, take your time. We're not in a hurry. Oh my gosh. Well, I don't want to keep Jess up all night either. But anyway, you guys, thank y'all for being here.
This is great. And don't forget, guys, we have, it'll be shortly after now. We have our closing webinar soon too, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah. I know. And so let me wrap up here, you guys, because you're going to want to attend that as well. So anyway, you could do promoted pins. You could get a sponsored post or piece of content, maybe pushed out by an influencer. You could do Instagram ads, sponsor a video on YouTube, pay for YouTube ads, use LinkedIn ads, et cetera, cold email outreach. You could ask a friend or acquaintance that you know to intro you to someone they know, which typically means sending an email. Hey, Jess, meet Regina. I think y'all might get along. Regina does this, Jess does this. Have fun, you guys. And that was, again, Jess didn't ask to be introduced to this Regina person who does XYZ, but she was. And then it might lead somewhere. So again, we just talked about the top 3: engaged, borrowed, pushed. But remember, there are also those bottom 2, which were longer term, shared, which you have less control over. If someone else mentions you on their podcast, if someone does some word of mouth, if someone shares your content with a friend, you have less control over that. You definitely can ask. I think there are ways that you can encourage people from your emails to share your email with friends who are also trying to homeschool or are interested in homeschooling. Hey, forward this email and send 3 friends who are trying to homeschool to this free challenge that they can take, to this free, masterclass that they can watch about how to set up their homeschool curriculum. So you can encourage sharing, but you have less control over it. So I don't put it out there as this primary immediate way that you can get exposure for your brand, but it is something you want to think about, because ideally, so remember when I shared earlier about the $1 million in revenue and only having spent, I forget exactly how much, I had to look this up to get the numbers, but I think around 12,000 on ads in that whole time. Well, the reason that's even possible is because I did have some of those longer term strategies in place where I was creating share worthy content and I was getting my SEO up so that I didn't have to spend money in order to sell my products. Again, not dissing ads. I think ads are great and can be used really well. And then lastly, discovered, this is getting that SEO juice up on Pinterest or on YouTube. YouTube is a search engine. Google, getting your podcast discovered in a search because of the keywords you use, whatever it might be. And then you can also be discovered on Instagram due to hashtags, right? Or the algorithm kind of pushing you out. And I will say that within each of these 5 categories, and especially here, all of these different ideas carry different value, okay? Because getting discovered on Instagram due to a hashtag is good for a day or so at most, right? A couple hours, a couple seconds, depending on the hashtag. So yeah, somebody might discover you, go back to your profile and then sign up for your free thing and then attend your webinar and buy your thing. Absolutely. But it's limited. Whereas your search engine juice that you build up on something like Google lasts a lot longer, right? So you're able to, so for example, I have people who are finding me and buying things from me every single day from blog posts that I created 4 years ago. So building up some of these ideas, pursuing some of these ideas is going to be more valuable than others, okay? All right, so then that was the last piece. You're going to fill in number 1. And so specifically, instead of saying, oh, I liked the engaged category, or I liked the borrowed category, instead of just saying that, you're going to pick one specific idea. So you saw for me in that new brand that I shared with y'all, my one specific idea that I'm going to focus really hard on for 90 days, especially for the first 30 days, is manual engagement on Instagram. So that's what you would write down in your blank for number 1. So now, and in theory, after you watch this and you have some time to think through it, you would have written, what's the way you're going to get in front of new people? What's the way you're going to motivate those people? You know, is it pre-work? Is it pain points? Is it possibility? And then specifically what kind of content you're going to do. Okay, I'm going to do a series on Instagram for the next 30 days that hits on the possibilities from different angles. And then how you're going to pitch. Does that make sense?
This is amazing.
And we are done. Now you should have a short stack sales funnel, everyone. And Regina only took half your life, but I'm done.
This is amazing. Okay. Virtual high five, everyone. Honestly, we did it. And like, this has been like I know you over deliver, but you like went above and beyond in this workshop. Like there's so much, I think, for everyone too, at different stages. First of all, can everyone just say, don't worry, we are going to go into the Q&A with Regina in just a moment. Let's say thank you though. Can we give a big, I mean, you've been doing this throughout the whole workshop anyways, but a big thank you to Regina for sharing all of this, for being a part of this. This has been super valuable. Now I want to talk about you. This is the final day of the summit. So I say this every time, you are obviously serious about taking action about this, right? You're serious about creating a profitable online course. And I want to acknowledge you for that. Like, so few people actually take the time to show up to learn how to do this, let alone spending 90 minutes to learn about sales funnel because you are serious about making this happen. So again, a virtual high five, because I think it says a lot about you and where you're going. And I want to know, who has found this helpful? What has been your biggest takeaway? What has been that aha moment throughout this presentation? Type it into the chat. But I really do hope that your biggest takeaway is that you can do this, because you can. I mean, there was someone in the chat actually earlier that mentioned that they had already like almost finished building their course in Teachable, like just going through the summit, which I thought was incredible. But just know that you can do this. That being said, who maybe feels a little bit more like this photo, just information overload? You're like, this is so exciting, but I can't even remember what the second step was or what I need to do in the second step. And there really are 2 paths that you can take from here. And I want to say both of them will work. Both of them are great options. The first path is you go on your course creation journey yourself. You figure things out on your own. And sometimes it can be slower. It can take a bit more work, but it is a viable option. And I think for some of you who maybe have done this before and you just kind of needed that extra motivation or just that reminder of what steps to take, I think this is good. I think this is all you needed, and another virtual high five. The second path, though, is you just follow a proven plan from people who've actually done it before, and you get extra help. So this path, it's usually faster, but it's more likely to work because there is accountability. And it's faster, it leads to better results, and I think it's more fun just because you're actually working with other people. So if you're interested in getting more help like in Path 2 and you haven't already joined us for this special offer that we have today, we've had for the past 2 days, we've put together something pretty special for the summit. This is our best deal of the year when it comes to Teachable, and it's called the Passion to Profit Pack. So this is our exact system, and it includes everything that you need for creating and selling your own online course. So everything that you get in the Passion to Profit pack, first of all, you get the technology. So you get our professional plan, which is valued at $99 a month. You can cancel at any time. And really, it is the technology to allow you to get your course website up, accept payments, accept students, and start to do this without the tech headaches. And Regina, I believe you use the professional plan, don't you?
Absolutely.
I would love to know just like, what has Teachable been like for you? How has it helped you grow your business? Obviously, you're still on it, so you like it.
Yes, for years now. The key thing that I think is that we get so hung up when we have to take extra steps to finally launch something, to put something out there. Like any tech hangups that happen really can just deflate you so much. And so I think the biggest thing with Teachable is that it's made all of that easy for me. I take payments easily. I set up the course easily. I set up the landing page to sell the course easily. Everything is just freaking easy. And this comes from somebody with web design and coding background. And I used to have to do this all myself on my website. So I absolutely love it for those reasons.
So great. And it's cool to see like what everyone's doing as well. It's like just because you can do something doesn't mean that it's the most efficient with your time too. Mm-hmm. And Teachable is used by these fine folks, including the lovely Regina right there. And just note that once you have the number one software to deliver your online course, well, you're going to want that step-by-step plan to help you create it and launch it. So this is where you're getting 5 premium programs and coaching. This is worth over $3,000 from some of our most successful creators. This is what makes the Passion to Profit pack so special and something that we do not do any other time during the year is for these summits. So the first thing that you get access to is Teachable U. So really Teachable U is a teachable university, and it gives you everything that you need to create your best online course to earn more money and more freedom. Now, there is no other program like this because this program that we created is based off of our learnings and the data that we have for our top creators in thousands of niches. So we're not just guessing on what you could do. We spent so much time to figure out what are the people that are actually doing this, that are being successful over and over again. What does that system, those strategies look like? So Teachable U, it's a curriculum and it consists of 4 premium courses that cover the 4 major phases of online course creation. And then each training component is designed to help you build a course business that matters. So the first program you get access to is a Choose Your Course topic. So this is going to be the perfect place for you to start if you're thinking things like I don't know what course to teach. I don't know if my idea is good. What do I even call my course? So this is valued at $199. And at the end of this, once you go through this, you'll walk away with a refined and validated course idea. You're going to have a target audience to attract your course to, a name for your school and course, and a healthy foundation for a successful online course business. The second program you get access to is the Build Your Audience. So at the end of this program, you're going to walk away with a mini course so that you can use it to grow your audience, tested tactics to grow your audience of raving fans who are ready to buy your course but are also genuinely interested in your topic, and confidence in your audience and your course topic. That's worth $199. Then you get the Create Your Course program. So if you have been feeling overwhelmed about the idea of actually creating the content for your course, this is going to be the program that you want to go through. So you're going to go through it, and at the end of it, you'll have a fully fleshed out course outline. You're going to have a list of every single piece of content that you need for your online course. So from videos to PDFs, you're going to have a professional, high quality online course that your students absolutely love. And most importantly, all of the tools and skills that you need to build a course from scratch. There is no tech skills required. And then finally, you have the Launch Your Course program. So this is for you for launching, right? So it's a proven launch method that all of our successful online course creators in different industries seem to be doing to sell their online courses on Teachable. You're going to have a perfectly priced course to hit your revenue targets, a beautifully designed sales page that is actually ready to convert, and a 30-day email sequence guaranteed to get you your first sale. And then throughout all 4 of these core courses, you're also going to get access to our checklists, our templates, email scripts, our course launch calendars. The whole point of this is to make your life easy. And the best part is that you can go through this at your own pace. So someone was asking if there's like a time frame that you had to complete it. No, life is busy. You can take your time to go through it when you need. And then what is part of the Passion to Profit pack are these premium courses. So the first course you get is with Bushra Azar, and you're getting the monthly memberships at Mint Money Masterclass. It is worth $199. And I mean, if you guys attended Bushra's workshop, you know this woman knows how to create recurring revenue. I can see Regina, she's like nodding her head. She's like, yes. Now, as you go through this masterclass, you're going to have Bushra's 21 science-backed, battle-tested membership models to get you paid on auto every single month, even if you're not selling anything. Then the second bonus course you get is Facebook Essentials for 2019. It's what every marketer needs to know. This is with Mari Smith. So it's valued at $299. And this is for you if you have wanted to be using Facebook effectively as a strategy in your business, but you do not know what you should be doing. Algorithms change. Should you be posting photos or video? What does that look like? And the reason why I'm so excited that we can include Mari's course in this bundle is that Mari was personally headhunted by Facebook to go on tour with the company teaching small business owners, and she's the premier Facebook marketing expert. So she is teaching you things that are actually working. And then the third bonus you get is a Launch Your Lead Magnet, how to design a course-focused lead magnet with Jenna Sword. This is valued at $387. And as you go through this course, you're going to learn how to design a beautifully branded course-focused lead magnet to skyrocket your next launch and to build your audience and grow your list. And then last but certainly not least, you get your first sale already with Regina and Anjano, valued at $249. Regina, can we talk through, I know I was going through the course that you included. I was just like, holy goodness, this is gold. But wait, what can we expect? Why should we be so excited for this?
Oh man, awesome. That's so sweet of you. So basically it's two challenges that I put together that take you through. The first one is to help you get your first sale, and it's 30 days of actions that you can take, 30 days of activities that you can do. Some of them will take you 5 minutes, some of them will take you 20, 30 minutes, but just 30 different ways that you can get yourself out there. And I think with the framework that you'll have from watching today's presentation, it's going to go even better. And just basically help you get your first sale. If the worst thing that would happen is that you have more data, you've tried a few things, you've seen what worked, you've seen what didn't, you've seen what you liked, you've seen what you don't want to do again, you've seen what resonated with your audience. So that's the first one. And then also included in there is a mini challenge to just help you start creating more purposeful content. Some of you might not have a super content marketing strategy. You might have a different strategy. You sell a few premium courses each month, so you don't have this huge blogging strategy. But for those of you who do place priority on content, there will be a ton of ideas for how you can start creating better content in there as well. So it's dope, if I do say so myself.
I agree. And when you said you were including this in the bundle, I was like, man, like we were super grateful for that. So thank you. Plus, you're getting, because I've seen everyone's like, I need to watch Regina's webinar that she did today like 4 times. You're going to get the Women Who Create workshops on demand. So you can go through all this content, all of the panels, everything. As long as you're on Teachable, you'll have access to that. So we got your back. And then if you're on the Pro plan, you're going to get 8 weeks of our group coaching calls. This is worth $800. This is with a Teachable expert. And the point of this is that you can show up, you can show what you're doing with your work, you can ask questions, get feedback, and really it's so you know that you will not get left behind. And you're getting the exact software that tens of thousands of Teachable instructors have used to grow their online course business. So everything you're getting today, and I do not want to read every single thing out word for word just because there's a lot there, but just by upgrading to Teachable, which is $99 a month, you can cancel at any time. You're going to get the Facebook marketing course. You're going to learn how to create recurring revenue and membership sites with Bushra, launching a lead magnet that is designed and course focused so you can get more students and grow your audience. You get your first sale already with Regina and those challenges, full access to the Teachable University, all of the Women Who Create on-demand workshops. I said I wasn't going to read them out, and here I am. And then 8 weeks of live group coaching. It's a total value of over $3,400. And these are some testimonials. I think we should update them with what you guys have been saying more recently. But people who joined this bundle and not just joined it and were like, cool, they actually started going through the content. My favorite is Eve. She said, I just signed up this morning. This content is sexy, which I thought was funny and a really specific way to describe it. Monica says, I mean, this is like $15,000 worth of content. Deodora said there's nothing like it. So we appreciate your kind words, but it's also just exciting to see that you guys are already going through it. And these are really valuable courses, right? So these are worth over $3,000 on their own. And I think if you were to buy those courses and you were to buy Teachable, I would still say that's a great investment. But if you upgrade to Teachable for the summit, this is our last day. We only have one more event. It's $99 a month. You can cancel at any time. We're going to give you all those courses and bonuses as a gift. Now, if you're sitting here and you're like, this is a no-brainer offer, but I don't know if I'm quite ready for the professional plan, we've also decided that if you upgrade to the monthly basic plan, so that's $39 a month, you can cancel at any time. You can still get all of those bonuses. The only exception is we can't include the coaching calls, but you will get all of the training, all of the courses, including Regina's course. So the basic plan still has most of the awesome features that you need, but really the main difference is there's limited features. There's a 5% transaction fee. There's no transaction fees on the professional plan. And really what we say is the basic plan is the right fit for you if you're not looking at making money with courses, like you just want to offer free courses, or you're not looking to sell for another 6 months to a year. Professional plan is usually our most popular plan, and it's the right fit for most people. So what I want you to do next is you can click the button above this video if this feels like the right fit for you. You're excited. You can't wait to jump into this. And one other thing that I do want to say though is we have a 100% money back guarantee. So you can take 30 days, go through everything, set up your school, start learning, start going through these bonus courses that you have access to in this bundle. And if by the end of that time you decide it's just not the right fit for you, let me know. We'll give you a full refund. There's no questions asked. It is 100% risk-free. And this is so everyone can take the opportunity to create their course, at least see if this is for you, at least give it that opportunity. And then it still gets better. I feel like Oprah when I say this. But we have a special fast action bonus for everyone that joins before we finish today's webinar with Regina, which is that you get a sales funnel power hour with Regina. Regina, what can we look forward to in this live group coaching session with you?
These are my favorite. Honestly, the best ideas come about in these small, intimate, there's that word again, group workshops, because what I personally do is research everyone's business before the call. So Jess told me that my email address will be made available to y'all if you join. Yeah. So you'll be able to email me answers to a few specific questions. That's going to allow me to actually research your business and what you're doing and what your goals are. So when we even get on the call, I have backstory on your industry and what you're trying to do. So then on the call, we will be able to just specifically spend time on how you're going to sell more of your course. So we will be talking about the short stack sales funnel, or launch funnel that you're going to put in place. If you're a little more advanced and have done sales already, we'll be talking about a more full stack sales funnel. We'll talking about how to get in front of new people. We'll be getting into the specifics of how your webinar might need to be structured if you're going to do a webinar, or how your discovery calls or one-on-one calls might need to be titled and structured. It literally, people, when they have these funnel sessions, a lot of times they're with Allie and myself, they go crazy because the messaging gets clearer of how they should present their offer, and the way to sell it becomes so much more clear. I just get so excited because we actually get to go back and forth and bring your business up on screen and spend time with your ideas. So I love those sessions, if you can't tell by my voice. They're my favorite.
No, I'm so excited. I love, where did it go? Lexi, who says, yes, how do you keep making these packages better? I know it's because our amazing speakers are so passionate about this and they want to continue to help you, which I thought was amazing. So really looking forward to having this included in the bundle as well. So thank you, Regina. And yes, this bonus will come with the basic and professional plans, but you have to join before we finish this webinar with Regina, which will be ending pretty soon as we get ready for our next webinar. But yeah, so everything you're getting today is our professional plan, all of these bonus courses, 8 weeks of group coaching if you upgrade to Pro, and the Fast Action bonus, which is the group session with Regina. This is a total value of over $3,600 just by joining Teachable, and there is a 100% money back guarantee. And I'm confident that you are going to love it. So we're going to get to the Q&A in just a moment. What I want you to do next, though, please type into the chat. Let me know if you've upgraded so we can make sure we can double check you have the Fast Action bonus because it is time sensitive. Testimonial from Sarah. She said, in February, I launched my first online course with Teachable and made approximately €1,000 in sales. This would be absolutely impossible without you and Teachable. Karen said, Teachable has opened my coaching business to the world, only been going for a year, and I've put out 2 free courses, 2 paid courses just to see how it'd go, and I made 30% profit. And Julia McCoy had finally hit the 5-figure mark with the launch of her first course. So this really should be a no-brainer offer because it should pay for itself. So if you were to make a $100 sale of a course, that would cover the investment in Teachable and all of those courses. But I mean, the whole point of this summit is that you are making more than $100. But you can join us to get access to the Passion to Profit pack above this video. You'll see a nice bright orange button. Now, if you are on the basic annual plan, you can click the button above and switch to a monthly professional plan to take advantage of the offer. If you already have a professional plan, whether that is professional monthly, professional annual, email summit@teachable.com. We're going to get you those bonuses because we, of course, appreciate you as a customer. We're not going to leave you out. So if you want to upgrade a pre-existing school, all that you need to do is click login when you log in or when you click to upgrade, so you don't have to create a new account. All right, so Jess, why is this offer so great? Why are you just giving away all of these courses and resources and Teachable You? Why did you spend so much time making this and then doing it for free? The reason is, well, first of all, we're a software company. So our business isn't dependent on the sales of online courses, but the reason why we put in so much time into Teachable You and we do these special offers is because as a business, we are only successful if our customers are, right? The people that stay on Teachable the longest are the people that are actually earning an income with online courses. They're talking about us to their friends and their coworkers. So we need to do everything that we can to ensure that you are successful. So it's a win-win. And if you need assistance once you're in, we are here to help. We have our customer care team literally sitting by to answer your questions. That is a real photo of them, except for we are 10 times larger now. But yeah, I am so excited, Regina. Thank you for doing this. Let's get into the Q&A. And yeah, I can see already in the chat, virtual high five to everyone who has upgraded. And please do paste your questions in again if we missed them, because there has been a lot. Even if you use the hashtag question, it'll be easier for us to filter it out. Katrina said, this is valued over $36,000, not $3,600. It's good. I'm not saying yes, I'm a little bit biased, but I went through Regina's courses and everything is just, it's good. Trust me. Okay. Bethany upgraded, Ligla, please let me know how to pronounce your name. I was saying this to Regina. It always bugs me when people say it wrong. Welcome to everyone who upgraded yesterday. Welcome. Carrie said join Pro on the first day. Yes, so if you join the first day, it's a waterfall effect, so you will get the Fast Action bonus from today. Okay, question for Regina. Kelly from Costa Rica says, can number 18 on the first list later be converted into a course?
Great question. So going back for me to the one I put 18th because I don't know. Excellent workshop series. Who was it with that question, Jess?
It was Kelly from Costa Rica.
Kelly, great question. So the one she's referring to, y'all, is number 18. I said a workshop series. I did 3 workshops to create 1,000 in profit in that 30-day time period. I did them in 3 weeks. Can that later be created or put into a course? Absolutely. And that is just such a wonderful idea. The workshops themselves, like you're doing a workshop and then you're selling a course, for example, where you're saying, hey, listen, I'm doing this workshop for free. If you want to keep a recording of it and get the expanded workbook that goes with it, sign up for my course called X. And it's going to consist of those 3 workshops that you did, or those 4 workshops that you did. So it's almost like old school teaching a course over a month-long boot camp or something like that. And I think that's great, y'all, because guess what? You can sell spots into this course, which is going to be this month-long boot camp that happens live every week for 4 weeks. You can sell spots into the course before the course is created. That means your Teachable has paid for itself. That means that, you know, if you needed some extra equipment or something, which I don't think you do need crazy equipment, it's paid for itself. You've validated your idea. You got your first 5 paying customers, 10 paying customers, 100 paying customers, and they're buying something that is yet to happen. So that's a great, great, great idea.
So good. And there's a question of confirming, do I get Regina's funnel if I sign up for the basic plan? Yes. So the only difference with this offer with basic and professional is professional, you get the 8 weeks of group coaching with a Teachable expert, but you will get all the training and resources otherwise. Okay. And someone's asking about upgrading to an annual plan and how to do that. So I'm going to actually just share my screen. So the benefit of doing you can do professional to get this bonus or this bundle, but if you do an annual, it ends up being cheaper because you save 2 months. So I'm going to share my screen so you can see it. This is very Inception. Okay, so you can click above this video to the button to join. And then once you sign up for the monthly plan, so you can just sign up here. When you're in your account, let me just refresh. This is a demo account, so let's see. Oh, I see, because I am already. 1 second. Click on plans at the bottom left, click on plan. And let me make it a little bit bigger so you can see. Click on plan. And then from there, you'll see that there is a monthly and annual tab. Click on the annual tab and you'll see it works out to be $79 a month. Click on that to upgrade and it will be prorated. So you will not be charged twice. You'll just be charged the difference. Okay, let's take 1 or 2 more questions. And Regina, if you see anything here that stands out that you want to answer, please let me know. Oh, sorry, 1 second.
Am I there now?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Okay, 2 questions are standing out to me. Emerson asks, did you have a team when you did these 18 different ways to pitch? And I would say for 90% of them, it was without a team. The largest my team has ever been what would be like 2 subcontractors working with me. That's the largest, where even though I designed myself, I had to pay a graphic designer because it was just too much work. At that time also I had somebody who was like scheduling social media content for me. So that's the largest the team has ever been at once, I believe. But most of those were done by myself. The great thing about them is that they're very personal ways to pitch for the most part. So they don't require much more than you and an internet connection and a deep concern to help people. And I know that, I mean, that might sound cheesy, but I mean, it's actually just the truth, right? And so I think there are ways that you can do it by yourself while you have to. But the great thing is, like, once you get in here and just start selling a few of your course, y'all, or maybe doing some coaching on the side or upgrading people to coaching after you've sold your course, you are able to then reinvest some of that money into getting somebody to do the graphics for you or getting somebody to do the things that you're not that great at. And there was one more question. I think somebody asked, I can't find it. I can't find it anymore, but I think somebody asked, like, okay, if you have all these various interests and things that you do, how do you manage it all? Do you keep it under one umbrella? Whatever, right? And so great question. And everyone has a different approach. For me right now, they're not very connected. Things that I'm doing are not very connected to each other. Yes, in theory, somebody who wants to learn how to detox their home could be the exact same person as somebody who wants to learn how to start an online business and, create profitable courses. But in general, right, like cross marketing is not to my benefit between those two brands. So those two brands are separate. And then the new project that y'all saw on Instagram is currently separate. Because again, I'm just trying to build from scratch, but there's enough crossover in my opinion that eventually I will use my By Regina TV Instagram account to promote it. So it really depends on what you're trying to accomplish. And is the messaging confusing to your clients? For me, I thought the messaging is going to be confusing to combine these two, but this third one can be supported by the first one, and it wouldn't be confusing, and it would still be a great customer experience for the people who've given me their time and money and are following along with me. So it might not be the perfect answer, but in general, I would say what's the user experience that you're going for, and judge based on that. You do want to keep your workload small, so I'm not saying start 18 different brands. In my idea, you got really good at one thing, you niche down and you got really good at one thing, and that allows you to expand. Kevin Hart was a really great comedian, and now he has a deal with Nike and has his own shoe and can talk about fitness and can talk about this, that, and the other. But he was a comedian, and he spent time and money and showed up night after day, perfecting his jokes, performing for smaller audiences, and then grew from there. He wasn't trying to be a comedian and talk about fitness and be a travel influencer all at the same time, right? So, and the experience of getting really good at one thing is going to then reduce the amount of time it takes you to build the other things, in my opinion.
That was such a great example. The Kevin Hart, I am going to remember that one. Because he was on the cover of a fitness magazine, I believe, too.
Yeah.
Okay, so looking here in the chat, I guess the final question someone was asking about, I already have an account. How do it's asking me, it says your account is already created. I'm going to just share my screen one more time, and then I'll also show you how to switch to annual. So, okay. So when you click the button above this video, right? So you click on the plan that you want. Rather than recreating an account, if you make it a little bit bigger here, you click on login. From there, you can log into your account that you already have. Now, if you don't remember what the password is, you can just click forgot password. Then, here we are. So when you want to change to an annual plan, so when you're logged in to your Teachable School, the bottom left, you click on plan, and then here you'll see that there's an option to upgrade. So rather than clicking on monthly, click on the annual tab, and then click on the whichever annual one you'd like to upgrade to. So yes, it does work out cheaper, but it is billed up front, whereas the monthly plan is a little bit more expensive, but it's per month. You're not locked in. You can cancel at any time. But for both plans, I should say you have 30 days for your money back. So even if you upgrade to annual today, if you decide to downgrade or to cancel your account, you have 30 days to make that decision. So on that note, one more time, I would love for us just to say a huge thank you to Regina. This is seriously, it's been great to hear the content, but also just hearing what you guys are saying in the chat. There was incredible. Someone said, where did it go? Kelly had mentioned that she had gotten the 4 slides of her Teachable. Here it is. Kelly Gray said, the reverse engineering is genius. That's for Regina. And she said, Jess, I made my first 4 slides last night after 3 years on Teachable. No more procrastination and dithering, as they say in Hollywood, action. I think that is a great place to end this on. And I'm so proud of all of you who have taken action, regardless of if you upgraded or not. But I just hope that you take this information, especially in today's workshop, because Regina went through a lot, and you start to implement it. So Regina, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate everything that you have been sharing. And how can we stay connected with you?
Thanks, Jess. The best way is through Instagram. I am by Regina TV, BY Regina, REGINA TV. And through my website. My brand is called Beta and Beyond, but we're switching it over and getting all of that settled right now. So you would find the website right now at byregina.com, byregina.com. So those would be the best places to connect with us.
Yay. Okay. We will post that also in the chat too, so you guys can just click on it. But thank you so much for being here. Now, don't forget our final event, our closing event. Encore will be joining us at 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to tell you what you can do from here, right? Because we've been going through the summit. There's been so much incredible information, and it can feel a little bit overwhelming, right? Where you're kind of like, I don't know what to do with all of this. Like, what do I need to focus on? So we're going to help you have a clear action plan to know what your next step should be, so you can keep this momentum, you can keep this inspiration, and actually get results. So we will see you at 9 p.m. Eastern, which is in an hour, less than an hour. But really, if you aren't able to make it, I appreciate you being through the summit. And I can't wait to see what you guys get up to. So until then, we will talk to you soon.